morning, everyone. How are you this morning? Good to be here with you. I hope you're having a wonderful start to your day. Hopefully, you've been able to get up and, like I always say, do some healthy practices that will put you in your best mood and put you in a place, in a position to have a wonderful day, maybe to try something new or to experience something new or different. One of the best things you can do is, just connect with someone, share an encouraging word, have a laugh with someone. And so lots of times you need to be around the places where there are other people who are early birds and waking up early in the morning, so they'll be present with you when you're there. So lots of times that can be like a class, either academic or a fitness class. Um, Maybe you just do things around your home and or your apartment complex, and there's a neighbor that's also doing things around the same time that you are. Maybe it's that you're do laundry and that you do that off site and you're able to connect with someone, or you are a regular there and so you already know people there. But it's really beneficial to be able to see people, familiar faces, and like I said, share something kind, share something encouraging, uh, give a compliment. And so just be really observant, use your eyes, and really try to be active in noticing things on other people so that you can give a compliment, whether it's something that they're wearing or even something intrinsic, like they're always happy or they're always in such a good mood or they always share interesting information or they always have a joke or a story that you really enjoy and look forward to hearing. Just pretty much overall making someone's day. And what you put out, you're going to receive back. Like the Bible reminds us, what we sow is what we reap. And so just always remember what you're going to be giving out, you can expect in return. And so how nice it would be to receive some of those things from other people for yourself as well. Also, like we know in the Bible, it says, um, if you'd like to have friends, show thyself friendly. And so the more that you can be kind and, basically demonstrate the fruits of the Spirit, be kind, be gentle, be loving, be joyful, have peace, have self control. Those are things that are going to attract either like minded people or others who will be drawn to those types of characteristics and attributes, even if it's something that they might not be exhibiting or exhibiting currently. It's typically something that is going to be magnetic. It's going to be dynamic for other people to witness. Um, just that charismatic type of attributes that you have, um, and they'll be most likely drawn to that. But when you start your day in that way, um, then you always have something to reflect on. And lots of times we reflect on things, over time, like some big accomplishment that we had or some memorable event. But if you can actively create those things in your life each and every day, then you can just reflect on that morning or an hour ago or a moment ago when you had a great phone call, you had a great interaction. And those are the things that are just going to keep you motivated, keep you focused, keep you encouraged, keep you wanting to be active in attaining your goals. Um, Sometimes people give up on their goals or they kind of backslide because they might not see the point in that moment. That's why sometimes a lot of people, they'll use a coach, they'll have a mentor, they'll use a personal trainer, or because that person is actively, encouraging them on. But if you can kind of actively create moments in your own life, then you can create a life where um, it's, you know, comprised of abundance and positivity and goal setting and goal achievement and positive interactions and connections and relationships and laughter and jokes and things to look forward to, and whatever your hobbies are, um, fitness, fashion, um, different topics, history, um, whatever it may be, then those are the things that are just going to keep you going and keep you in a great mood. So um, yesterday we were looking at some of the verses in well I'm gonna we can talk about a verse in Psalm today, Psalm 19:8 specifically. And in this verse in the Bible, it says, "The precepts of the Lord are right, giving joy to the heart. The commands of the Lord are radiant, giving light to the eyes." So, what a wonderful verse. You know, the precepts of the Lord are right. So, we know that this is fact, this is the truth. And so, his precepts are right. And so, our only responsibility, although it may be challenging at times, is just to simply follow him, do our best to follow his commands, follow his laws, follow his precepts. And it tells us here that they are right. So if we ever wonder, well, what should I do in this situation? We know we can follow these things and do whatever is going to be in alignment with the Word of God. And that is going to be the correct decision, the correct course of action, the best course of action for us. And it says here that they give joy to the heart. And so sometimes people are downtrodden, or they're um, frustrated, or they're heartbroken. And it says, following his precepts are going to give joy to the heart. So if we are seeking more joy in our heart and a joyful heart, then we understand and we know to follow his precepts, do what he's asked, do what he says. Take a look at the 10 Commandments, take a look at the fruits of the Spirit, take a look at um, reaping and sowing. Take a look at all the different individuals described in the Bible and what they did and what the outcomes were, and how can we emulate that in our life. And then it says the commands. And so, this is how we can have a joyful heart, and how others can see a joyful heart within us. And they might be inquisitive and inquire about our joyful heart. And this is what we know to be true and can share, whether it's someone younger than us or whoever it may be. This is why my heart is joyful, and this is how you can attain a joyful heart as well. And then it says the commands of the Lord are radiant, giving light to the eyes. So his commands are radiant, giving light to the eyes. So you're going to have just this light in your face, in your eyes, that is going to, again, exude and demonstrate, just someone who is going to attract others in a positive way and be able to share with others, edify others, build others up, be encouraging to others, be helpful to others, be loving to others. That's going to make such a difference and an impact in the lives of others. We we seek to, take care of ourselves, but also to be selfless and to be there and carry, like the Bible talks about, kind of really carrying the burdens for others, if, you know, and sharing in the sufferings of Christ. I think it mentions, like, if someone's in prison, it's almost as if you're there, in terms of, the compassion and, you know, really being empathetic to their situation, and still being in a position to continue to encourage that individual, to continue to build them up, to continue to give them hope. Hope is so important. In that verse, I think in Jeremiah, God says, but I give you a future and a hope. And if we have hope, that's another thing, like we were talking earlier, just that keeps you going, that hope piece, because you're going to have more experiences or similar experiences later in the day or the next day. And one of the ways to really get through tasks or projects that you really might not want to do is to, really reward yourself. Do something challenging, do something more mundane, do something that has a timeline that has to be done, and then reward yourself with something that you do enjoy. um, Going somewhere where you do enjoy, being around certain types of people that you do enjoy, and then getting back to doing more of that task, and so on and so on. And so, but overall, what a nice verse, and what a way for us, if we want to have a more joyful heart and we would like to have light in our eyes that is projecting and demonstrative to others. Just that light in your eyes, that you're a great person. You're someone that others want to be around. You're someone who is known to help others. Lots of times, even with employers, they're looking for people who, not only solve problems, um, they're looking for people who are present, people who are there. Um, you're always here, you're always there. Uh, Leaders and leadership, um, being a leader, putting yourself out there, in a positive way, going above and beyond, taking the initiative. Um, and you know basically, they're looking for people that are going to have impact in that environment, people that are going to have influence. And it seems that someone with a joyful heart and light in their eyes is someone that people are going to be going to, that people are going to be drawn to, whether it's to ask questions, receive assistance, to check in with, someone they'll want to help. So all these characteristics are really important. In another version, it says, the statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. So again, the statutes are right. The commandments are pure. And what do? They rejoice the heart and they enlighten the eyes. So it just gives you this rush throughout, and just brings just so much peace and positivity within your person. Light eyes, a rejoicing heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure and bright, enlightening the eyes. So that provides some more detail or information potentially about how the commandments of God are bright. And so that's how your eyes are enlightened, because you have those within you, in terms of, them, you're following them, and it's giving brightness, and it's coming through your eyes. It's something that you're actively engaged in, and it's just providing illumination. The precepts of the Lord are right, making the heart glad. The command of the Lord is radiant, making the eyes light up. So, you're making these proper choices. You're following his precepts and commands. And for that, your heart is glad. So you're not in that state of a sad heart or a frustrated heart or an angry heart or an unforgiving heart. Instead, your heart is glad and your eyes light up. So your eyes can't help but light up. They're not going to be necessarily, dull or dim, but they're just going to be lit up with, some with this engagement that you have with his precepts. The Lord's regulations are right, gladdening the heart. The commands are pure, giving light to the eyes. It also says they're perfect, restoring the inner person. The instruction is sure, making wise the thoughtless. So it's perfect, his laws and so forth, and they restore. How many people are seeking restoration? They want to be restored. Please restore the things that have been lost. Please restore the things that have been broken. Please restore the years that were taken. Please restore health. Please restore the wealth or possessions that one had. Please restore relationships. And so it says they're perfect and they restore the inner person. So your inner person is restored. Maybe back to youth or health in terms of what you're feeling and experiencing. Like in the Bible, how it talks about, be like this young person, be like one of these with your heart and so forth in that posture. And that's how we can please God. The instruction is sure, making wise the thoughtless. So the instruction is so solid that those that are thoughtless and maybe simple, they are made wise. They are given wisdom through following these instructions because the instructions guide them. They are wise instructions, so they're taking that in, then they're applying it. They're not just listening or reading to it, they're actually doing it. And because they're doing it, they're going about in a way where they're acting in a wise way. And because of that, they're also being perceived as wise, and they are made wise. So that's another way to acquire wisdom, is to follow his commands. Many of us, we want to gain more intelligence, or not more intelligence, but we want to become wiser and in what we do. And following his instruction is a path to that. The Lord's instruction is right. It makes our hearts glad. So again, if you're looking to have a heart that is feeling in a much better way, follow his instruction. His commands shine brightly and they give us light. So his commands shine brightly. These are commands that are meant to help us, commands that are meant to assist us, commands that are meant to restore us. And so they shine brightly. Look at me, follow me. It's bright and it's drawing you in. It's something that you're looking at or would look at. And subsequently, they give us light. So just like when Moses had an encounter with God and how he shined so brightly and the others were, fearful, just being around God or being around his presence. Some trust in chariots, some in horses, but we will call upon the name of the Lord our God. So anything physical, anything of strength, chariots, horses, they use horses and oftentimes in times of battle, but we will call upon the name of the Lord our God. So, he has the ultimate strength, and that's where we can find the ultimate strength. The Lord's laws are right. They make people happy. So that's what we were kind of discussing. So literally in this version it says, they make people happy. So another way among the numerous ways to feel better about yourself, lift your mood, be in a more joyful state, is to consider his laws, know his laws, study and read. Pray that you will have the strength to follow them, and as well as consistently, and then feel better, feel happy. The Lord's commands are good. They show people the right way to live. So they show you the right way to live. Lots of us were asking, well, what should I do? How should I do this? What should I do in this case? Start following his laws, and they will show you the right way to live. And again, this will be helpful for everyone around you, whether it's family members, friends, and associates, as they see how you're living, and then you're modeling that, they're observing that. Maybe they try certain things in alignment with that, and then they reap the benefits and they experience the fruit of that. And so you're building up a community. The Lord's rules are always right. If we obey them, they make us really happy. The Lord's commands are completely good. They show us how to live in a good way. So the Lord's rules are always right. Always right. So there's no question. Just do what he says. If we obey him, they make us really happy. So again, this is how to lift yourself, lift your mood, knowing that you've made the right choice and that his commands are always right. The Lord's commands are completely good. They show us how to live in a good way because they are good. So it says they're completely good. And so they show us how to live in a good way because we're following things that are good. The orders of the Lord are right or virtuous. They make people happy or rejoicing the heart. The commandments of the Lord are pure. They light up the way, giving light to the eyes. The instructions of the Lord are correct. They make the heart rejoice. So your heart is rejoicing. It's so happy to follow them. It wants to follow them. The command of the Lord is radiant. It makes the eyes shine. So you're following those commands, and you're just shining. You're just radiant. Like, again, we think of that story with Moses. He was just all lit up and very bright. The laws of the Lord are right, and those who obey them are happy. So when we look at people that are happy or joyful, we might inquire, are they following the laws of the Lord? And you can look at their lives, and maybe they are. And that can be a signal about how you could live a similar life, experiencing similar sentiments and joy and happiness. The commands of the Lord are just and give understanding to the mind. So the commands are just, they're fair, and they give understanding to the mind. So our minds expand, we understand, we have wisdom. They're teaching us, they're showing us the way to live, like it says, and they're providing such benefit in our lives. People are happy and so forth. God's laws are perfect. They protect us, make us wise, and give us joy and light. So his laws are perfect. They're absolutely perfect. It's literally exactly what we should be doing. It says they're perfect. It's not well or what if or I don't know or maybe this. It says that God's laws are perfect. They protect us. So if we follow them, we're in a protected state. They protect us. We're in alignment with him. He knows that and understands that. He wants to thus protect us. He will protect us. They make us wise again. So they provide wisdom. They build us up in wisdom. This is how one of the ways in which you can gain wisdom. And they give us joy and light. So, even just think about people that you know that are just such a light. Um, maybe they're always joyful and happy, and you're experiencing that light. Maybe they're just always positive and encouraging, and you're experiencing that light. Maybe they just always have something kind to say, and so you're experiencing that light. Um, but what a great way to be. This one elaborates a little bit more. The revelation of God is whole and pulls our lives together. The signposts of God are clear and point out the right road. The life maps of God are right, showing the way to joy. The directions of God are plain and easy on the eyes. God's reputation is 24 karat gold with a lifetime guarantee. The decisions of God are accurate down to the nth degree. So it says the revelation of God is whole, it's complete. It's not partial or in part, it's totally complete. And, that's something that we can really hold on to, something that's complete. And it pulls our lives together. A lot of people, they want more order in their lives. They want more things to be more in alignment. They want more financial prosperity. They want stronger health. They want better relationships. They want more consistency in certain areas. This pulls our lives together. It says the signposts of God are clear and point out the right road. So there's no ambiguity. They're not vague. They're clear. Just, we do it. We follow it. And it says the life maps of God are right, showing the way to joy. So this is showing the way to joy, showing the way to joy, showing the way to a happy, rejoiceful heart, showing the way to wisdom. The directions of God are plain and easy on the eyes. Again, they're saying they're simple, they're plain, they're clear, and it's easy on the eyes. How many times have you looked at something and it's just kind of vague and ambiguous and it's just kind of looking jumbled and there's confusion? It just says, they're plain, they're clear, they're easy on the eyes, they're orderly. The decisions of God are accurate. They're accurate. They're completely correct. Down to the nth degree, it says. The instructions of the Lord are correct. They make the heart rejoice. So once you follow them, your heart is going to be rejoicing. And what a great feeling. The command of the Lord is radiant. It makes the eyes shine. So your eyes are shining. And sometimes people say, there's something about that person. There's something about them. Maybe this is one of those instances, where their eyes are lit up, they're shining. And we may be able to refer back to this piece of scripture. And like I said, as you look more at their life, you might see that they're doing this very thing. The law of the Lord is perfect, affording refreshment to the soul. So it's refreshing your soul. It's, just making things anew, refreshing things, restarting things, resetting things. The decree of the Lord is worthy of trust, imparting wisdom to the simple. So they're trustworthy and they're giving wisdom. Who doesn't want wisdom? A more rejoicing heart, more wisdom, eyes that are lit up and shining, not just for your own benefit, but for the benefit of others. The commands of the Lord are pure, they light up the way. The Lord's precepts are fair and make one joyful. The Lord's commands are pure and give insight for life. The Lord's directions are correct, giving satisfaction to the heart. So the heart is satisfied. Sometimes people will say, they're not fulfilled, or they feel empty, or they feel some sort of void. Following his directions gives satisfaction to the heart. You feel more satisfied, just like when you have a great meal or something and you feel satisfied, or you were really successful at some workout and you feel satisfied with what you've done, or you've written something or completed a project, and someone will say, do you feel good about it? And he's like, yeah, I feel content with it. I feel satisfied with it. I worked really hard. I'm proud of it. God's commandments are clear, lending clarity to the eyes. So we see a pattern, like it says God's commandments are clear, and then they give clarity to the eyes. So what his laws are gives that to you. God's laws are radiant, giving light to the eyes. So you're taking on his things, his stuff, and in result, it's doing that same thing to you. It's having that effect on you. Again, his commandments are clear. They give clarity to your eyes. His commandments are correct and accurate. They give you wisdom. His commandments are radiant and bright and pure. They make your eyes in the same fashion. The rightfulness of the Lord be rightful, gladdening hearts. The commandments of the Lord are clear, enlightening eyes. So let's take some time to pray. If there are, if there is a need for prayer or request for prayer, we can make that known and pray, put prayers out for those needs and requests. But we ask God to continue to be with us, to continue to just make light our path, show us the right way, illuminate our path, what we should be doing, what your will is for us, maybe even our assignment, our purpose, our gifts, and give us the strength to not only do the work to know what your laws are, like I was saying, to read, to study the word, to listen to the word, to discuss it with others, but then to have the strength to apply what the word says and to do it consistently and to start experiencing the effects of that. Like we were reading, the enlightened eyes, light shining in our off our eyes and in our eyes, increased wisdom, increased clarity, hearts that are increasingly joyful, hearts that are increasingly rejoicing, hearts that are glad, hearts that are happy. We all desire to have those things, and we want to also honor God and do the work to receive those things. And help us to find ways to continue to gather and fellowship with others so we can talk about God, listen to information about you, God, to study your word together, to recite your word, to share your word, commit Bible verses to memory and be able to share that with others, including in times when maybe a specific verse would be really relevant to the situation that they're going through, whether it's hard times or a trial or in a situation where we need to be patient or be more gentle and talking about the fruits of the Spirit and so on. Help us to, be in a position where we've looked at the Bible so much and or repetitively and had discussions about it and been in forums where we're hearing about it, that it can just immediately come to us in situations where it would be helpful and extremely helpful. That's how we get experts. We get people who just really understand technically that field because they've done it for so long and they've mulled over all the information about it and they've researched it and they've got the practical hands-on experience. We want that same thing with us, with the Bible, so that we can live life in the best way and, we can do what we are here to do and be in alignment with God's will. So God, we ask that you take care of all the people who may be experiencing limited health in whatever capacity. It may be an illness, it may be a wound, an injury, it might be pain or inflammation, it might be something short term, something long term. We ask that you remove those things if it's in your will and restore that person to complete health and to help them and comfort them and help us, like it talks about in the Bible, to comfort those who as we have been comforted by God. And so we very much know how to comfort others because we have been comforted by God. And so we've experienced that comfort. And help there to be individuals, whether it's family members, friends, associates, who can be there for those individuals as they're going through these circumstances, who can be present, who can provide support, who can provide encouragement, who can provide healthy things to consume, who can provide, that reassuring or comforting form of touch, who can show, like we were discussing, in their eyes and in their mouths, that light and that comfort and that support, which is made very evident to the receiving person, that sign of care concern, compassion, empathy, and genuinity and authenticity from others. And God, please be with all the people who are really struggling to make ends meet, who aren't sure how certain bills are going to be paid and how commitments that require finances are going to be handled and addressed and managed. Help them to find a way to have revenue coming in and on a consistent basis with longevity and with the type of quality or abundance and quantity that's needed to really set them up to be able to really manage their finances well and in a way where they can get the things that they need. Like we always discuss, in Deuteronomy, it talks about how God gives the ability to generate wealth. And so we ask God to help us and provide that ability to generate wealth. And that might be us needing to learn something or something different, or being more mindful in that area, or doing things on a more consistent basis that might bring in some sort of revenue, but help us to be able to see what it is that we should be doing and then walk alongside us to make sure that what we're doing is a success and bears fruit and yields positive outcomes. And God, help us with our relationships. If we have limited relationships, help us to put ourselves out there more in a way where we can actively work to build connections. So being present in places where there are others, and others who may be like-minded, others who may be open to connections, and remove all the pride and put us in a place where if we know we're doing what's right and our heart is in the right place and we're demonstrating the fruits of the Spirit, to just have the confidence to be approachable or to approach others and share a kind word or be encouraging or give a compliment or ask a thoughtful question or whatever it may be. Give us the wisdom in that area and help things to multiply in that area. Once you practice and do the application and get out there, you're making yourself, you're present in those types of environments and on a regular basis, and you're actively being approachable or approaching others, and help connections to start to build, and then give people the wisdom to maintain those connections. Sometimes at first it was, the big deal was establishing connections, but then there's the whole part of maintenance. With all the different things that we do in life, how are we going to maintain our health once we got our health or we got our health back? How are we going to maintain all these relationships? There's going to be setbacks. There might be obstacles. There might be trying times. There might be times when you're not always in agreement, but we're going to strive to, look at the big picture. And if there is an abundance of relationships, but they're very trying, or, help us to be able to have good balance and to be able to be authentic, help us to be able to communicate in a clear way so other people understand why you might not be able to do something or do something at the moment, or why you might be pulling back, or how things are impacting you, so that others can be in a better place to have more understanding about why things might be shifting and how it's not personal. Help us to really navigate all those relational circumstances, and help everyone has set goals. Maybe they're pursuing things educationally and it's really tough. They've got a lot of work to do. Help them to find the time to do it, and help them to have the know-how and the wherewithal to do what it is that's being asked of them to be successful in the different accomplishments that they've set out to achieve. Maybe people are building things. Maybe they've gotten stuck. Help them to push through paperwork or getting permits or things not fitting or things not being how they should be. Help them to be able to push through that. Give them the wisdom again. And we know how to get that, like we were discussing, to follow your laws, and help us to remember that. And help people to be in a great environment, in an environment with others who are loving, in an environment with others that are building you up, encouraging you, and vice versa. Environments that are safe. Help us to get into increasingly safe environments that are healthy, and um, gives us the things that we need, having our basic needs met. And help people to set a challenge, set a goal to try something new this week or today or tomorrow. Try something different. Put themselves out there in a way that maybe they haven't previously. Attend something that they haven't attended previously. Sign up for something that they hadn't signed up for. Go out and seek the help or seek the assistance or seek the support, whatever it is that may be out there in whatever area that you'd like to see improvement in, and that you'd like to see growth in. And it's very powerful, being around others and being able to observe and get ideas and try to emulate what it is that they may be doing that's providing success, that you see efficacy with. And so help us to be able to have those opportunities. Sometimes people might be in areas where there's not a lot of opportunities, not a lot of venues. So make a way, God, or for them to have the experiences they need to make growth in their life. And help people emotionally, help them to be able to deal with and manage just the trials that they're experiencing. We know from the Bible that we will have tribulation. Help them to manage the sorrow, any bereavement, any grief, any loss. Help them again to be comforted, be merciful with them. Help them to utilize the fruits of the Spirit to overcome challenges that they may be having. To choose love, to choose gentleness, to choose kindness, to choose faithfulness, to choose peace, to choose hope, to choose self-control. And help us to have more trust in you, God, more faith, increase our faith. Help us, like the Bible says, not to be double-minded, to ask for something, believe that we'll receive it, maybe asking with others, and where we're coming into an agreement, we know that you're there in the midst. And help us to have more self-control. Help us to have more self-control with our finances, with our health, with our tongue and the things that we say, and with our actions and the things that we do. Help us to just mature in that way, so that we're able to experience the benefits of things and not fall deeper into more destruction or things that would harm us. And we ask all these things in Jesus Christ's name. We pray, amen. Oh, and also we ask for all the spiritual armor and for protection. So, um, you know, set some goals, maybe create a list or jot things down on your phone or on a piece of paper, things that are going to, move the needle, that are going to, once those get complete, once those get accomplished, it's either going to set you up for something else or something big, or it's going to just be putting you on a path towards that one day. Um, Stay motivated, keep occupied in a good way, in a balanced way. Try to, touch on each area of your life. Do a little bit every day in the area of health, the food you prepare, the things you're eating, and um, in fitness and in movement, and becoming more mobile, becoming more flexible, being able to be more functional. Also in your study, in terms of the Word of God and building up your mind and your capacity and also your heart, letting God speak to you through His Word in terms of what He has to say and what He has to say about a variety of different things that, of course, are discussed in the Bible. And then also studying um, something else that may build you up in terms of a skill or knowledge that you would be able to share with others or benefit from or receive compensation from. Also doing some work inside the home, maybe having things more tidier, more cleaner, more organized, more orderly. Also outside of the home, it may be something where you're able to receive compensation with, or you're looking for a change in that area, or you're looking for promotion or increase. So applying for those things or completing the necessary paperwork or talking to the necessary people who can help you to be in a position to potentially receive something like that. And let's talk again soon. Hopefully, each time we connect, we're in a slightly better position or a much position. Um, Hopefully, building ourselves up in the Word of God, praying about things that we need and that we would want to see fruit in and experience success with. And again, letting God speak to us in terms of the way in which we should go and how we can get there, what exactly we should do, and let God work in our lives, surrender to God and let Him have His way in terms of really guiding us and allowing us to see that this was what was best for me, or that this was what God was trying to convey to me, or this is the direction that God had been steering me to go into. And maybe with 2020 hindsight, having a great story or a great testament, or just having it be fascinating how, looking back, things all brought you to a certain place or position. So take care of yourself, relax, and also, do the things necessary. It's only through action, you know, action in which we're going to see things that we want to experience and be where we want to be. Keep focused. If you struggle throughout the day, um, play His Word or read a verse or read a chapter. And, you know, that's what you can dwell on. That's what you can, ruminate on. That's what you can focus on. That's what you can think about. Again, that Bible verse, think about all things pure, think about all things that are right, all things that are righteous. Um, just constantly redirect your thoughts and your mind so that you stay positive, stay focused, and let God help you and work things out for you, especially when we feel that they're too much or too challenging. We know that God always has the solution. Like we were looking in the verse, that we know also that the solution is always going to be correct, always going to be accurate. His laws, his precepts, his ways are correct, and we had read are perfect. So we'll meet again and take care. Have a great day. Bye.